Your body replaces nearly every cell it contains, roughly every 7 to 10 years. The hands you're looking at right now share almost no physical material with the hands you had a decade ago. The neurons firing in your brain have recycled their molecular components multiple times over. Every atom that made up the you of 10 years ago has long since been exhaled, shed, or flushed away. And yet, something has been continuous this entire time. The presence reading these words right now feels identical to the presence that looked out through your eyes as a child. It hasn't aged, it hasn't changed, it hasn't been replaced. So here's the question that neuroscience is now being forced to confront. If you are the body, why are you still here when the body is already gone? We operate under an assumption so deep it rarely gets examined. The assumption that you are your body, that your identity lives somewhere inside approximately 37 trillion cells, and that when those cells eventually stop functioning, you stop existing. This assumption shapes everything. It drives the fear of aging, the terror of illness, the existential dread that hums underneath even the most successful life. If you are the body, then you are always, at every moment, one diagnosis away from ceasing to exist. But here's what's strange. Neuroscience, not philosophy, not spirituality, not ancient tradition, neuroscience is now producing findings that directly challenge this assumption. Consider what happens under general anesthesia. A surgeon opens the body with a scalpel. The nervous system is structurally intact, the brain is receiving blood, the heart is beating. Every biological component required to generate sensation is present and functioning, and yet nothing is felt. The body lies there unresponsive, as inert as a piece of furniture. Most people assume the anesthetic turned off their consciousness, but that's not quite what the science shows. What the drug actually does is far more precise and far more revealing about what you actually are. Then there's the temporoparietal junction, a specific region of the cortex that, when stimulated with a mild electrical current during neurosurgery, produces something extraordinary. Patients suddenly report floating above their own body, observing themselves from a position outside their physical form. The feeling of being the body vanishes instantly, repeatably, on demand, with a tiny electrical nudge to a single brain region. If your identity were genuinely located inside your body, stimulating one small patch of cortex shouldn't be able to temporarily dissolve it, but it does, every time. These aren't fringe findings, they're reproducible, peer-reviewed, and deeply uncomfortable for the standard model of what you are. Let's build this from the ground up, because the mechanism is more precise than most people realize. Your brain has never, not once in its entire existence, directly experienced the physical world. It sits sealed inside the skull in complete darkness and total silence. No light has ever reached it, no sound has ever touched it. It has never made physical contact with a single external object. What it receives instead are electrical signals, encoded pulses traveling along nerve fibers, converted from sensory data at the periphery of your body. Your brain then takes this raw electrical noise and constructs something remarkable, a three-dimensional model of a world and a self existing within it. This is not a metaphor, it is the literal computational process your brain performs approximately 100 times per second. The structure responsible for anchoring you inside a specific body is called the temporoparietal junction, or TPJ. This region integrates data from your visual system, your proprioceptive system, the sense of where your body parts are in space, and your vestibular system, which tracks balance and orientation. It blends these streams together and produces the sensation of inhabiting a specific physical location inside a specific body. When the TPJ is disrupted, whether by electrical stimulation, certain neurological conditions, or specific meditative states, the result is consistent. The sense of being located inside the body dissolves. People report observing themselves from outside, from above, from a neutral position in space. The body continues to function, but the feeling of being the body temporarily ceases.
What this tells us is that the experience of being embodied is not a fixed property of consciousness. It is a constructed experience, assembled in real time by specific neural circuits, and it can be interrupted. Now apply this to anesthesia, because this is where the implications become genuinely profound. General anesthetic drugs work by temporarily blocking the thalamus, the brain's central relay station, from broadcasting integrated sensory information to the cortex. Think of the thalamus as the building's main electrical switchboard. The anesthetic doesn't destroy the switchboard. It doesn't eliminate the electricity. It simply prevents the signal from reaching the floors above. When that broadcast stops, consciousness doesn't report blackness or sleep or nothing. Patients who are asked to describe the experience don't say they experienced darkness. They say they experienced nothing at all. No time passed, no void was perceived. The interval simply doesn't exist in experience. This is the critical detail. Unconsciousness under anesthesia is not an experience of absence. It is the complete absence of experience. And when the drug wears off and the thalamic broadcast resumes, awareness returns immediately, fully, exactly as it was before. The awareness didn't grow back, it didn't reboot, it resumed, as if it had simply been elsewhere or nowhere, waiting.
Now here is where the default mode network, the DMN, enters the picture. The DMN is a constellation of brain regions that activate specifically when you are not focused on an external task. When your mind drifts, when you daydream, when you sit in traffic, the DMN switches on. And what does it produce? A continuous narrative about you, your past, your worries, your social relationships, your future plans, your identity. Neuroscientists initially assumed the DMN was simply the brain's idle state, what happens when nothing important is occurring. But more recent research reveals something more specific. The DMN is the neural architecture of self-referential thought. It is the biological machinery that constructs and maintains the story of being a particular person with a particular history. And here's what's significant. The DMN is not you. It is a process that generates the experience of you. When the DMN is suppressed through deep meditative states, flow states, certain neurological events, the self-referential narrative goes quiet. And what researchers and practitioners consistently report in those states isn't the disappearance of awareness, it's the expansion of it. Clarity without commentary, presence without the constant internal monologue filing everything under mine. There is a useful analogy here. Imagine a projector running a film. The film contains a character, let's say a detective, who believes he is the most important thing in the room. When the projector runs, the detective exists, moves, speaks, worries. But switch off the projector and the detective doesn't go anywhere dark. He simply ceases to be projected. The screen remains, the light source remains. Only the particular pattern being cast has stopped. The DMN is the projector. The self-narrative is the film, and what you actually are may be closer to the screen or the light than to the character being depicted. This isn't purely philosophical territory. There are specific evidence-based practices that work directly on these mechanisms, and the results are measurable. Protocol 1. The Observer Audit. Once per day, ideally during a natural pause, not a scheduled meditation session, spend 60 to 90 seconds doing the following. Rather than watching your thoughts, watch the act of watching itself. Notice that there is something registering your thoughts, your physical sensations, your emotional states. Notice that this registering presence is not itself a thought or a sensation or an emotion. It is simply aware. This single practice, repeated consistently, begins to loosen the automatic identification with the DMN self-narrative. Protocol 2. DMN interruption through absorbed focus. The DMN cannot run simultaneously with states of genuine absorbed attention. Deliberately structured periods of absorbed focus are not just productivity tools, they are DMN interruption protocols. Schedule one block per day, minimum 45 minutes, where the task is sufficiently demanding that your attention has no bandwidth left for self-referential narrative. Protocol 3, the boundary dissolution practice. Close your eyes. Direct your attention to the physical sensation at the edges of your body, where your skin meets the air, where your back meets the chair. Now, allow your attention to rest on both sides of them simultaneously, the air touching your skin and the skin being touched. What most people discover within 60 to 90 seconds is that the boundary begins to feel less like a wall and more like a meeting point. The sharp edge of where I end softens. This is accessed through attention rather than electricity. Protocol 4. Reframe the DMN broadcast. When the internal monologue activates, the worry loop, the self-criticism, most people either fight it or get absorbed into it. There is a third option. Recognize it as a broadcast, not your voice, not your truth, a signal being generated by a biological system doing exactly what it evolved to do. Simply recognizing it as a generated signal changes your relationship to it immediately. Here is what the evidence actually points toward. You are not the biological hardware. You are not the self-narrative the DMN generates. You are not the sensations assembled by the TPJ into the feeling of occupying a body. You are what remains when any of those are temporarily removed, and something remains every single time. The anesthesia doesn't eliminate you. It eliminates the broadcast channel. The TPJ stimulation doesn't dissolve you. It dissolves the model of being located inside a specific form. The DMN suppression doesn't erase you. It quiets the story being told about you. In every case, the awareness that notices the absence is itself the evidence. Most people spend enormous energy trying to improve the character in the story. Better body, better history, better narrative. And none of that is wrong, but there is something available underneath all of it, something that requires no improvement, no achievement, no protection, because it was never the thing that was threatened to begin with. The lamp can age, the lamp can break. The light was never the lamp. You have always known this. You've simply been too absorbed in the film to notice the screen it's playing on. That screen hasn't moved. It's exactly where it has always been, right here, looking out through your eyes, unchanged and waiting to be recognized.